Some late news here. Facebook shares, by the way, up about $1.24. That's just about 7.74%. The Facebook controversy deepening following those explosive revelations involving Cambridge Analytica. Now, Mark Zuckerberg finally speaking, so to speak. He did it in a blog post just coming out. He provided a timeline and said steps are in place to stop the data misuse that's been reported. He wrote, quote, "I started Facebook, and at the end of the day, I'm responsible for what happens on our platform. I'm serious about doing what it takes to protect our community. While this specific issue involving Cambridge Analytica should no longer happen with new apps today, that doesn't change what happened in the past. We will learn from this experience to secure our platform further and make our community safer for everyone going forward." A lot to unpack in this. First of all, it took a little while for him to come out. Fair?
That's okay. I mean, I think maybe they could have said we're going to really take our time and wrap our brains around this. So bear with us for 36 hours or whatever. It was actually 72. But and I know people are going to pick this apart, but I'm sorry, I'm going to pick it apart.
Yeah, no, I want to go through it. So there's a lot in here.
There is a lot in here. I have to say overall, I think it's a little mealy-mouthed, a little convoluted, a little defensive. I would give this thing a C. And also, it's not apologetic. Right? And that came to mind when Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, posted Mark's blog on her Facebook page and started by saying, "We deeply regret." And then I said, aha, Mark never said he deeply regretted anything.
Sorry.
Right, exactly. And when you go through this, I was just trying to read this in 2014. You know, we announced we were changing the platform to limit the amount that the apps could access. And then it turned out that, in fact, Cambridge Analytica was still doing it? Or were they just using the data that they had scraped prior to 2014? That's kind of unclear.
There's so many questions about your own personal data that are just raised in this. What do they have? Is it other companies other than Cambridge Analytica?
Did they get you or me? Who?
Are we going to all start getting emails a la what we got from Equifax saying you've been exposed to this somehow? Is that what he's saying in here, that they're going to be starting to alert us? And it raises even more questions than there are answers in here.
Yeah, well, so they haven't told us who the 50 million people are, and those are 50 million Americans, of course, not people outside the United States. And then what are the implications if you were scraped by Cambridge Analytica? I mean, are you exposed to anything? And then I don't know if there is any recourse. Well, we know there's litigation already. But, you know, supposedly there's going to be a widget at the top of your page so that you can sort of understand who you're connected to, right? And, you know, logging into all kinds of other apps. And, you know, remember that Cambridge Analytica used, you know, sort of a personality test to sort of get you in, and it was all, you know, somewhat transparent to those 300,000 people, but then they were able to basically extrapolate off those 300,000 people. All your friends and your friends' friends to get to that 50 million number. It is very complicated stuff. I will tell you this, the data science is complicated. Having said that, you're making a lot of you being Mr. Zuckerberg. You're making a lot of money off this. So you owe it to us to explain it, to be transparent, and to not allow untoward things to happen to our data.
So the stock was not down today. Is that a function of getting more news out about it, people understanding some of the headwinds, or is that just because it was off so much yesterday? Like, have they done enough to address this? Have we seen Facebook's high? Is it just all tough sledding from here on out?
Well, no one knows the answer to that question, of course. But, you know, I think that it becomes sort of a valuation issue at some point, and people just say, you know, listen, it's, you know, if I didn't like this stock at 30 times, it's now 25 times, and I'm going to buy it. It's an opportunity. You know, people who really look at the business can tell you whether or not it's still growing. Insta is a great business. You know, the main Facebook platform is pretty mature at this point, obviously. WhatsApp has room to grow. Messenger has room to grow. And the way they monetize the platform certainly has room to grow. That is, if advertisers stick with this company, given what it's going through right now, Jen.